Hey, Happy New Year, everyone. I saw Sonic 3 over the holiday break and loved it. Sonic Adventure 2 is my first real Sonic game I played back in the day, and I've been a fan of the franchise ever since. I still actually have the GameCube game, and I play it every now and then. And for Sonic 3, it was cool to see how they adapted elements from the game into a movie. And being an indie comic creator, I had to ask, how would Sonic Adventure 2 look in comic book form? So for this video, I'm going to take a cutscene from the game and break it down beat by beat, and then recreate it as a comic. The goal is to capture the same tone, energy, and narrative flow while leveraging the unique tools and storytelling techniques of comic books to make it just as impactful. So let's get into it and see what I draw.
What?
I'm already envisioning like a near splash page to capture the enormity of Shadow's reveal. A splash page is used for dramatic moments, and here it works perfectly because it's the first appearance of the Black Hedgehog, and that's a big deal.
It all starts with this. A jewel containing the ultimate power.
So for this shot, like him holding it up, the big reveal that he's got an emerald, I'm thinking another large panel, not quite a splash page, but large enough to really emphasize the danger and significance of this moment. And thinking in comic book terms, as he's talking, there's going to be word bubbles around him. So it's important for this panel. I need to give this panel just enough room for the visual impact of the Chaos Emerald, but also make sure when Shadow's talking that the word bubbles don't overwhelm the art.
Jewel containing the ultimate power.
That's the Chaos Emerald!
I'm going to make Sonic's reaction another large panel below it. Again, I know this is a back-to-back large panels, but this is a big moment in this scene. Like, each page is almost telling a mini story to keep readers engaged. Page 1 shows Sonic's shock and awe at the fact that there's like an evil black hedgehog in front of him. And then the next page gives a closer look to who Shadow is. Double large panel pages, it's easier to draw, and it sustains the narrative flow, building the intensity of Sonic's realization that there's a new hedgehog in town.
Now I know what's going on. The military has mistaken me.
You can see Shadow's mood shift. The visual of him losing that smug grin, let's do it by like we can do it by two panels. One showing his cocky demeanor, and then the next his defensive reaction towards Sonic's words. So I think I'm gonna use the technique of like word bubbles extending off the panel to signal this shift. I trust the reader's intelligence to understand that since there's only two characters in this scene, that the bubbles that are coming directly off the panel and pointing downwards, they're coming from Sonic. And I think by keeping Sonic's part only in word bubbles, and we're visually only looking at Shadow, this lets me focus on Shadow's expression and subtle change in confidence.
The military has mistaken me for the likes of you. So, where do you think—
I really like this shot, an over-the-shoulder shot of Shadow looking down on Sonic. It's just a clear visual cue on who has the upper hand in this interaction. And I definitely want to translate that back into the comic as well.
So, where do you think you're going with that emerald? Say something, you fake hedgehog!
Alright, Sonic's defiance. He's making the first move. I do like Shadow's glower there as Sonic's talking, so I think let's capture that in a smaller panel. It's an intimate reaction that lets us immediately transition into Sonic's bold lunge. Part of me does want to make Sonic's action panel larger, since it's like the key turning point in the conflict. But I don't know, I feel like keeping it smaller creates more tension and anticipation. That's just me trying to think ahead of how the panels will go. I could do a bigger panel for him running at Shadow right now, but that might ruin the flow of like all the other scenes that I'm envisioning. It's like a domino effect, you feel me?
Chaos control!
I think I'll show the buildup by having Shadow toss the Chaos Emerald up in the air. Like, you know, really show like the energy and preparation to this awesome new move. And then the next panel can have him grabbing it with the power surge and really making the move feel even more explosive when it finally happens. The actual Chaos Control move in this like cutscene is a little slow of build-up in my opinion. I mean, like for a teleporting move, it takes a long time to rev up here. So I think when I draw this scene, I'm going to put like a heavier emphasis on making it like an impact frame, like a real like action lines just coming off everywhere, really highlighting the speed and intensity of this move. Sonic and Shadow, and Sonic and Shadow, why am I doing that again? Sonic and Shadow, oh my god. It's a cross shot where Sonic and Shadow zip past each other at incredible speed. So I think for that, I'm going to use another large panel to capture this intense motion and make sure that the focus remains on their rivalry, because I mean, who doesn't love a good cross-section of the two hedgehogs?
Wow, he's fast. Hey, it's not as...
I know in this shot that they're doing like multiple angles of the shot, and I think that's to help not break the 180 rule, because Sonic then moves from the left to the right screen, and if we didn't have that other shot, it would have been super jarring and confusing to watch that happen. But I'm going to simplify the multiple angle thing here and just pick one perspective, just to still contain the immensity of the moment. Like, it's not about breaking the 180 rule. I don't like to do it. I'm not a fan of it, but I want to make sure that the impact of their clash resonates visually.
Hey, it's not his speed. He must be using the Chaos Emerald to warp.
My name is Shadow.
So just like in this cutscene, an over-the-shoulder shot of Sonic will be perfect to show where Shadow is now located. And what's cool about that too, it's just another visual cue of their power dynamic. Shadow's still looking down on Sonic. He still sees himself as better and more powerful, the ultimate life form.
I'm the world's ultimate life form. There's no time for games. Farewell!
I'm gonna do a similar two-panel thing where he's talking and he's just doing his thing, and then the next panel snaps right into the action.
Gah! Shadow, what is he?
Don't move! Stay where you are! Keep your hands up in the air!
Huh? Not again.
For this final scene, an extreme close-up of Sonic shielding his eyes, and then a wide establishing shot that the gun, soldiers, and robots are all here to arrest him. So I think I'm going to parallel it to the first page and do like another near splash page with a smaller Sonic panel, and then big boom, you got busted. And I think that actually, it ends on a good cliffhanger if I make it like that too, ending it on a giant splash page like that. It will leave the readers with an impactful moment, and it sets up the next part of the story with a very solid like to be continued slapped at the end, if this was like the end of a chapter or an issue or who knows what. And there you go, that's my visual breakdown for when Sonic first meets Shadow in Sonic Adventure 2. And working off the cutscene blueprint that we just went over in this video, I went ahead and I fully made this comic in my own art style. So if you want to check that out, you can read this 6-page mini comic on my Patreon for free with a link in the description. Don't forget to comment below what you thought about it. What I really aimed for this comicification process video is it was just to demonstrate that comics are an incredibly versatile medium. Like, you don't need moving images or voice actors or sound effects or any of that to make a scene hold weight and tension. Like, yeah, it helps. It can really, really help. But comics can do that too. And I think that's why I chose not to take many creative liberties in like reinterpreting how the scene could play out visually. Instead, I just really wanted to focus on analyzing on the camera shots and the angles already used, the emotions and themes conveyed through those choices, and then match them in comic form just to show that this scene can be translated pretty effectively in drawings and comic panels. Thanks so much for watching. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and let me know if you want to see more videos like this where I translate whatever video game, TV, or movie scene into the comic book medium. I already have some ideas of what stuff I'd want to comicify next, and there's a lot I'm excited for in 2025. I'm gearing up to launch another Kickstarter campaign. I have a bunch of new video ideas that I want to get better at shooting and posting more consistently, and I got some other secret plans that I hope you join me on in this year's adventure. Alright, see you guys.